Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm back here with my mock draft 3.0. And yes, we're doing another one, guys. I think I'm going to release these once a week until the draft. And let's just crack that up because this is the fourth video I'm making today. Different time spans, but either way, let's get into it. My top five has stayed the same. Really, the top six has continued to stay the same. Cunningham to Detroit. They're not going to pass up that generational talent. And Evan Mobley, people keep fighting me. But no, they're going to take Mobley because he's the best big man we've had in a draft since arguably either Karl Anthony Towns or Anthony Davis. Guaranteed, like Evan Mobley in any other draft would be number one pick. Okay, Kate Cunningham is just, they're both generational talents. And Jalen Green has the potential, but I think Mobley and Cunningham are guarantees. Now, Green, Sexton's already been on the market, even though I like the idea of keeping Sexton together, Darius Garland and Colin Sexton, and having Jalen Green start as the sixth man, maybe start working with some small ball lineups. That'll be really cool. Then you got Toronto, Jalen Suggs. They're going to get rid of Kyle Lowry, without a doubt. Kyle Lowry's leaving. I don't think he's staying, and they might sign and train him. But imagine Fred VanVleet at shooting guard, Jalen Suggs at starting point guard, got Malachi Flynn as the backup. I kind of like that lineup right there. OG Anunoby at small forward, Pascal at power forward. Then at center, ask Chris Boucher to spend the summer putting on like 15 pounds if possible. I mean, that's a little much, but 5-10 pounds and then keep having him do that for the next few years. I like that. Then you got over here Scotty Barnes, who keeps storing up boards, and I keep seeing Scotty Barnes and Kuminga being the argued, but Kuminga offers the more scoring potential, and what he did at the combine is an example of what people wanted to see, and it all but I think seals that he's going to be, Scotty Barnes is going to be really good, okay, an all-star. Jonathan Kuminga is the last guy out of these five guys. Suggs and Green guaranteed all-stars. Mobley and Cunningham guaranteed all-NBA perennial. Green, Suggs have all-NBA and probably are going to be all-NBA players. Kuminga has that level of potential. Scotty Barnes does, but I don't think as guaranteeable as, like, Barnes has a higher floor. Kuminga has a higher ceiling. Then the Warriors have James Bouknight going there now. James Bouknight isn't the world's greatest defender, but he's a plus defender on the most days, and on his best days he's really good. He can be pesky and he has the length, and I really like the idea of the Warriors because you'll see down here the Warriors. If you want to see the rest of my mock draft, there it is. And with the Warriors, you see that I have them going Corey Kispert, who actually showed he's a lot more athletic than people thought, and I think he actually played guard small forwards and even slow-footed power forwards. And James Bouknight pairing up with Corey Kispert to keep both picks, automatically two guys are probably going to be at least 37-38% three-point shooters as rookies, and bring some shooting, and both guys who I think can come in and play right now. So at 7 and 14, I have the Warriors right there going and taking Bouknight and Kispert just getting a bunch of shooting. I want to hear your opinions down below, what you guys think of this. Like and subscribe while you're doing that. Orlando Magic, Keon Johnson, most athletic guy in the draft, and probably the best defender that isn't named Scotty Barnes in this year's draft. And yeah, his shooting isn't there, but he'll if he's a guy who can get to the line a lot and hit the free throws, he has the athleticism to do that, and all he needs is that three-point shot. And we're talking about one of the better two-way players in the league. Davion Mitchell, I was talking about this in my point guards video. I love the idea of Davion Mitchell and being a six-man next year for Halliburton and De'Aaron Fox, and then maybe them doing some weird small ball lineups where they run Barnes at power forward and do a Billy Donovan-esque Oklahoma City Thunder type Schroeder, how they did Schroeder, Paul, and Shea. Do Halliburton, Fox, and Davion Mitchell would be awesome to see some test lineups like that with Barnes and whoever their center is next year. Barnes playing power forward, obviously. Then Franz Wagner, they need the shooting. He can be a good length. He's got great length. He seems like he could be one of the better two-way players, a lot more athletic than his brother. His brother would have been a good prospect if he wasn't 7 foot and like meant to be a big man. And like, I mean, Mo just got another contract. I don't even know why we're talking about Mo, but like Franz is going to be way better. Franz looks like he could be an all-star. He could be a guy who could just D up people and hit threes, and he has the length to do it. He could be really a more athletic. I hate to compare white players and Euro players to other white Euro players, but a more athletic, skinnier, lankier Danilo Gallinari, sort of a Jeremy Grant-esque player. We could say that's better. Could he be like, he's not as athletic as Jeremy Grant, but he has the length of Jeremy Grant. So a more athletic Daniel Gallinari and a Jeremy Grant-esque body. I feel like that's kind of, I was like staring into the light. And next, Kai Jones. I know this might be a reach, but the perimeter defense, his length. I saw this guy in person. Okay, and they need a center. And they could sign Montrezl Harrell, be the offensive guy, and then Kai Jones come in and play defense next to PJ Washington, Miles Bridges, Terry Rozier, and LaMelo Ball. Come on, baby. That's nice. And Gordon Hayward's there too. Ooh, love that. Gordon Hayward would probably start the Miles Bridges off the bench. Oh, like that. I had the Spurs originally getting Sengun, Alperen Sengun, but I've switched to Jalen Johnson. Everyone's hyped me up. He seems like a guy who could be a secondary playmaker. And I really like the idea of DeJounte Murray. And then you have at shooting guard, if they get Kelly Oubre, then you could start Devin Vassell and have him backed up by Jalen Johnson. And Jalen Johnson can help Derek White run the second unit, and he has the length, and it only needs to get the shooting down, but he has the length, and he's already a good passer and ball handler for a small forward. He just smells like a San Antonio Spurs pick. And if they don't get him, it's obviously going to be Sengun. Moses Moody, 7'1", 6'7". He has a 7'1" wingspan. He's 6'7". He's in the vein of Devin Vassell, a guy I was talking about earlier. He's a more athletic and really seems more confident and could be a better scorer. He really could be a two-way player. He could develop into the same vein as Paul George, Jimmy Butler, and Kawhi Leonard. Maybe not be as great as some of the guys I just named there, but be an all-star who does that, good two-way player. Corey Kessler, we already talked about him. Alperen Sengun, we saw what Daniel Gafford did. Thomas Bryant's coming off an ACL injury, and they could bring back Lin or Lopez, but I really like the idea of Alperen Sengun, and they just tell Thomas Bryant's kind of the stretch guy who can play some defense and just let him come back slowly. And then you have Daniel Gafford as just the rebounding defensive guy who's a really good rim runner. Alperen Sengun, you just get him to bulk up even more, get an NBA conditioning, and you have him just be this offensive force on pick and roll if they keep Russell Westbrook. But at the same time, you could argue it wouldn't work. OKC supposedly has a handshake agreement with Isaiah Jackson. He had like per 40 minutes, like 5 blocks a game. He's this guy who's probably going to be like a 15-point, at least 8-7 rebounds a game and like 2 blocks. He's just, he's going to be so energetic. And I really like him. He's going to be a rim runner, lob threat, blocker. Maybe he could start hitting threes. Zaire Williams had a really rough year, but they need depth. The Memphis Grizzlies need depth at the wing position, and I think Zaire Williams would be perfect. Maybe spend a year behind Anderson and then replace Anderson and be a better version of him. Josh Giddey, I like the idea of Shea and Josh Giddey because neither of them are guys who are going to be averaging 10 assists a game, but they're both definitely guys who could average at least 6 assists a game. And imagine both of them being Shea being the shooting guard, Josh being the point guard, and then you just put Pokusevsky at small forward, then at power forward you have them taking Scotty Barnes, and then at center you have Isaiah Jackson. Oh, yes. And then they have a bunch of other guys they were going to have on that team that you could put in there. Knicks love defense because of Tom Thibodeau. Jaden Springer, really like reeks Dylan Brooks type player who's just plays bully ball. He's going to be probably inefficient for the first year or two, but he's going to be just playing so hard on defense. And he'll probably be putting up at least 12 points inefficiently. Sharife Cooper, he sucks at defense and shooting, but he's so good at passing. He has such high basketball IQ, and he can score. He averages 20 points a game at 6'1", 165 pounds. So he'll find a way to make it work, and the Hawks will love to have him as a backup. I have Neemias Queta going before Usman Garuba. It's just because he averaged like 3.1 blocks, led the NCAA in blocks. He's shown that he's a great block. And Azubuike was a surprise first-round pick. Knicks going to take Queta. He's perfect. He's going to be a guy who starts his first year and be a better version of what we saw Nerlens Noel do. And he could be an option that they might get rid of Mitchell Robinson because they like him so much, because he could be a guy who averages 15 and 12 and like 3 blocks a game and be like DeAndre Jordan but better and maybe start hitting threes. Chris Duarte, perfect guy who's going to come in and be pro ready, who can guard 1 through 4, hit 40% from 3, and just has high basketball IQ and is athletic enough to be in the NBA. Lakers would love to have him. Josh Christopher is has so much potential. Out of people out right here, I think only Garuba has the most potential, maybe even JT Thor. And I think that's like the most interesting part about this. I just realized I have Nemes Kieta down twice, and I'm about to fix that. And I'm trying to think of who I have to replace that with. But Josh Christopher and Trey Mann, they get a point guard who's a scoring threat and can play defense. Josh Christopher is a scoring threat who has the potential to be a decent defender. Usman Garuba, if they move on from Ibaka or Morris or any of like the guys that they're paying, Garuba can come in. He's played in for Real Madrid and he's played professionally, so you can be a big small ball big, or it really could be a big and a potential stretch four. So Ayo DeSumo, they need shooting. He's a good defender. He has versatility, length. Love him. Perimeter defender. Okay. And they need some. Gary Harris was good 1 year, then he sucked and he played good defense. Will Barnes good at offense, but not that great at defense. Ayo DeSumo gives you both, and he can come in and play now. Look what he did at Illinois. Jeremiah Robinson Earl, we saw what the Morris brothers have done, and Blake Griffin, where guys who are stretch fours who can also play small ball five because they have the physicality and toughness to do it are really good. Bones Highland is awesome. Jeremiah Robinson Earl's good. Would be great for the Nets to replace Blake Griffin or Jeff Green. Bones Highland, 6'3", 6'9" wingspan. Tenacious guy. I really like him. Could be a poor man's Rajon Rondo, but bigger. And then JT Thor to the Utah Jazz. You know, he had a great combine. He blew up on people's radar. And he could be a stretch four. So I'm going to put right here, Day'Ron Sharpe, UNC. I'm not a huge fan of him. I just need somebody to put there. They need a center, a backup center. And Jalen Sticks is more of a stretch four. So that's it. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. These are my picks. Let me hear those likes and comments down below. Peace out, guys.